Good morning everyone. My name is Lalit Soni and today we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper in this live session. This live session is brought to you by Drishti IAS. So we'll start with the today's front page news and then we'll discuss all these articles. Death penalty to ex-Indian Navy. So basically Qatar has given death penalty to 8 ex-Indian Navy personnel. We will see why it is why this particular decision has come and what are the implications, what India is doing about it. And then Apar ID, APAAR, one nation, one student ID. So as you know that we are going towards the more and more integrated lines. So one nation, one elections, and then one city, one product. So like that, there is this one nation, one student ID. So for all the students in India, there will be one ID, and all the academic records will be recorded over there. Okay, so we'll talk about this Apar ID. What are the benefits out of it, and what is the concern? Then tax-based violence. We'll talk about some data which suggests that the tax-paying population in India has widened or increased. We'll talk about that, and then we'll discuss the editorial. We'll take one of the editorial from the newspaper today, and we'll discuss it in length. Then we'll talk about some world affairs. We know that there is this Israel Hamas issue still going on. There are some new developments. We'll talk about that. And since we could not discuss yesterday's paper, we'll take up the important news from yesterday. And with that, we'll be wrapping up the session. So from the front page, I have taken this. Qatar hands death penalty to 8 former Navy people. Deeply shocking, says Government of India. Okay. So basically what happens is there was a case going on for a long time now, and because in that case, the Qatar government has given death penalty to 8 of ex-Indian Navy people who were involved in some kind of trading activity, or you can say they were working with one company over there. Okay. So we'll look at since the details of this particular case has not been made public because of Qatar's security reasons, they are citing it, and that is why we don't know much about this case. We know that this case has been going on since October 2022, and since then after like 1 year now, they have given this judgment. Government of India said they are shocked by this judgment, and they will be looking at all the legal options available to them. You know that there was one other case, that Italian marine case, wherein 2 Italian marines people has killed 2 fishermen of Kerala, saying that they were involved in some kind of pirates activity. They assumed it, okay, and they killed them, and because of which they were tried in India, but then because of international laws, we have handed over them to Italian government. They will be tried there. Okay. So now Indian government is saying that we will also follow that model, because since international law, if there is some kind of crime committed, the government has the jurisdiction because they are their citizens. Okay. So now we'll talk about that. So in this case, Qatar has alleged that this was a case of espionage, or you can say some spy activity related, and that is why they have given this death sentence. Okay. Now this will be a test of India's ties with Gulf nations. So basically this Gulf nation Qatar, we have friendly ties with it. Even our president has visited Qatar in 2016. Before that, in 2015, the Qatar Emir visited India. Okay, so we had this kind of friendly ties. Other than that, Qatar is kind of important now when we are talking about Middle East. They are trying basically to get the Israeli hostages back from Hamas. So they have some kind of geopolitical sway as well. Okay, so the Qatar wields considerable clout in international diplomacy, from hosting the Taliban negotiators to securing the release of US citizens from Hamas captivity. Okay, so that is one thing. Then when we are talking about the case, these are the details of the case, which is not important for us. We'll see what happened in this thing. Okay, 8 former Indian Navy personnel has been sentenced to death in Qatar, alleged in a case of espionage or spy activities. Okay, the charge against these has not been made public, but they were working with Dahara Global. It is a company on a project related to Italian small sleeve submarines. Okay, so they were working with this particular company. The CEO of this company came, and they wanted to safeguard the rights of their employees. But the problem is he was also kind of taken into custody for a while and sent to solitary confinement, and after that he was granted bail and he got released. And then the company has stopped operation in Qatar. Okay, the two Qatari national and were also charged in this case. One of them was released on bail, and one Omani national was released. Okay, but death penalty is given to these 8 Indian ex-Navy personnel. India has expressed shock at the verdict and is exploring all the legal options available while offering consular and legal assistance. Okay. This case has strained India's ties with Qatar. Obviously, if something like this will happen, it will kind of there will be a rise in tensions. A powerful Gulf state and diplomatic efforts are going on. Okay. The Indian government has been closely monitoring the situation and following the international and national laws. Okay. India is following a similar legal approach as in the Enrica Lexe Italian marine case contest to the charges. As I told you, this we have talked about this case. Herein, in this case, the Italian marine case, wherein 2 Italian marines accused of killing 2 Indian fishermen at the coast nearby some Kerala of coast in 2012. While they were assuming that it was in anti-piracy mission, and they assumed that these fishermen are pirates, so they killed them. The case led to a diplomatic dispute between India and Italy. Okay, they were initially detained in India, but later released to Italy, leading to international and legal proceedings. Okay, so that was the case. So we are now following the lines of this particular case when we are talking about this Qatar's recent case. Okay, then we'll talk about this Apar ID, APPAR, sorry, APAAR. Okay, so it basically it stands for Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry. From the name, it is clear that it is automated, then permanent account, academic account. So whatever your academic achievements will be, they were registered in this particular account. Okay, it is automated because once you once this ID is generated, you can record it and you can generate regenerate it anywhere. Okay, so let's say if you are studying in one school, you have this Apar ID, then you got transferred to some other school, you don't have to bring all the physical copies of your mark sheets, etc., because it is already present in this particular account. Okay, so that is the rationale behind this particular thing. Okay, initiative is by Indian government on the lines of the National Education Policy 2020. So we know that this NEP has been launched in 2020. Before that, we were under the National Education Policy, which was launched in 1886. Okay, so after that, this new National Education Policy has come in 2020, and it is kind of very inclusive, you can say multidisciplinary, and there has been a different approach so that we can increase the gross enrollment ratio as well. Okay, so you can give it a look at your home. It is a unique ID system for students in India that provides lifelong ID to track academic progress. So from your primary school education, starting from your primary school education until your higher education, you can update all the data in this particular ID, and everything will be present there. Okay, so once this is generated, you can access it anywhere at any time. Okay, from pre-primary education to higher education, it will be a gateway to DigiLocker. So you know that DigiLocker is a locker, digital locker, which is launched by the government of India, wherein all the government issues document will be there if you issue that, and they will remain there. You can use it, use them whenever you need. Okay, so once this ID is generated, okay, you can use it in the DigiLocker and get all the documents over there as well. Okay, so this is about Apar. This is the introduction, and then now we will see what is the goal. Goal is to streamline education, okay, to make a holistic integrated platform wherein we can find all the education data, all the credits which has been earned by a student. Okay, reduce the need of physical documents, track literacy rates. So once we know that there is one ID, we know that how many people are in that particular portal, and we will know that the rate of dropouts, how many classes they have completed and when did they drop out. So literacy rate, the dropout rate, prevent fraud in education certificates. So there are this fraud certificates, etc., being generated. So once this particular portal is live, there will be a less chance of fraud. Then unique ID. Every person, every student will be given a unique ID, okay, which is to be linked with an academic bank credit. Okay, so this academic bank credit is nothing but a repository of your documents, or you can say all the credits you have earned during your academic cycle. Okay, that stores information about the credits earned throughout the learning journey. Data transfer, as I told you, when a student is transferred from one school to another, they have to produce physical copies of the mark sheet. Okay, but once this portal is live, or you can say once this ID is generated, you don't have to go for any kind of physical generation of mark sheet, etc. All the documents are already present there. You just have to share the Apar ID with them. Okay. So when a student changes school, their data in ABC, that is your academic back credit, is transferred to the new school simply by sharing the Apar ID. Okay, no need to do the physical documentation and transfer of certificate, etc. Not required once this is online. Then registration. So all the students who can register for Apar by providing their basic information, and they can verify it by Aadhaar card. Okay. So for their Aadhaar number, they have to give their consent that they are willing to share their Aadhaar details. So one concern is that there will be issue of privacy, that such huge amount of Aadhaar data will be with this particular entity, and they can share it with private people. That is a concern. Okay, but government has assured that nothing like that will happen. This is only for the verification, or for the Aadhaar, the consent is required here. Okay, so in case of minors, the guardian or the parents will give the consent. So this is a voluntary activity. Okay, it is not you can say not mandatory. Okay, so let's see what is the concern. Some concerns have been raised about the sharing Aadhaar details. As I told you that there are worries of data leak, there are worries of data sharing. Okay, so with worries about potential data leaks, government assures that the information shared by the student will be kept confidential and not shared with the third parties, except for the educational entities and agencies. Okay. Here one thing they can do is that for even sharing that particular data, the consent should be required by the student, or you can say the guardian. Okay. The Aadhaar number only used for the verification, and it is not shared with the third party. So that is the concern, and government has assured that there is nothing like that will happen in the future. Then in conclusion, you can say Apar is a part of government's One Nation, One Student ID initiative, which aims to provide standardized and secure system for tracking students' academic records and achievement throughout their educational journey. We have discussed it, that we are creating a portal, or you can say repository, where in all the achievements, or you can say all the academic records will be kept at one place. You can use it anytime. You don't have to go for physical copies, etc., or nor you have to save it in your phone, etc. You just have to remember one Apar ID, that's all. Okay, so that is about your Apar ID. Then the third article is tax base widens, trend of migration of individuals towards higher income, says the CBDT, that is the tax authority. Okay, or you can say Central Board of Direct Taxes. Fine. So basically they have said that around 7.1 crore returns has been filed in the last financial year. Okay, 23-24 financial year. In this 7.41 crore returns has been filed, and they have said that some nearly 64 to 65 returns were new. Okay, so those were not filed before. Okay, other than that, there is increase in tax return. As I told you, the number of tax return filed by the individual taxpayer in India for assessment year 21-22 increased to 6.37 crore. So there is an increase in the number of returns, showing that there is an increase of 90% from the last decade. When we are talking about 2013-14, there were only 3.36 crore returns filed. Okay, so there is an increase of 90%. So that is a huge increase in a decade. This is seen as an indication of widening of the tax basis, which is clear that if more people are going into the tax return, or going into this trend of filing returns, it means that there are more taxpayers. Okay, so there is a widening of tax base. The new first time filers, as I told you, that total 7.41 crore returns were filed, out of which nearly 53 lakh, sorry, my mistake, I have told you 65, this is 53 lakh which has filed for the first time. Okay, so it means that more and more people are getting integrated into the tax system. Then if we see the income groups, the number of returns filed by the individual taxpayer has increased significantly in the income group of 5 to 10 lakh and 10 to 25 lakh. So basically, you know that less than 5 lakh, these people are not taxable. Okay, before more than 500, these all are in the taxable bracket. So we are seeing that more returns has been filed in this particular range. So we can safely say that people's income is increasing, and because of which they are getting integrated into the tax system. Okay, and that is the reason the tax base is widening. Government will kind of expect more revenues. Okay, so this is a positive trend of migration to higher income ranges. Okay, so since we are saying that it is in the bracket of 5 to 10 lakh and 10 to 25 lakh bracket, so basically the people who has the less income, they are moving toward the higher income bracket. Income inequality. So there is this concern that there is income inequality in India, and rich are getting more richer and poor are getting poorer. So that was the concern basically. Uh, we can say the Congress leader Jairam Ramesh has said that there is this concern related to inequality. He said that the top 1% of the income tax payer made 17% of the all income. Okay, top 1% made for 17% of the income. So by 21-22, top 1% made 23% income. So they are saying that in 2013-14, a decade earlier, there was only 17% income generated by 1% of top strata. But now when we are thinking about it, that is 23% of all the income. So basically, rich person is getting richer. Okay, the income growth of ultra rich was much faster than that of middle class. The income growth by this you can say the 1% strata is faster, at least you can say 13% more pace it is seeing on year basis. Okay, and there is this 60% faster growth in case of incomes of 1% strata. Okay, so government is saying you are fine in saying that, because that inequality has remained already in place. It was already in place in the economy, and more than that, there is one reason. If there is a huge capital, that will generate huge results. Okay, or you can say returns. So now on this income equality front, the authorities have said that the proportionate contribution of gross total income of 1% individual taxpayers has decreased, while the contribution of the bottom 25% individuals has increased. So basically, according to their data, they are saying that the contribution in the income by the top 1% has decreased. On the other hand, the bottom 25% people are or the taxpayers are increasing their contribution. Okay, so in case of this thing also, we can say that people are in the lower strata are generating more incomes now. Okay, taxpayers number, we have said that taxpayers number is increasing now, but it has not always been the case. In 2019-20, there was a less number of people who paid tax. That is because of the COVID maybe. Okay, so the trends are not static here, but the thing is now the number is increasing again. So we can say that now we are getting a positive trend out of number of taxpayers, and when we are talking about the income. Okay, so I guess that is all for this article. All you have to remember in this article is the trend. Okay, so other than that, you can remember this data like 1% people holding on to 17% of the income. All these things you can remember, but specifically you have to remember the trend so that you can use it in your answer writing, etc. Okay, or sometimes UPSC has tendency to ask this trend in your you can say statement based question as well. So moving ahead, editorial. This editorial, the Biden pragmatism, is written by C. Raja Mohan. You can quote his name in your answers. So in this particular article, what he is saying that because of this unexpected explosion in the Israel and Gaza Strip area, the problem is there are questions on the ability of USA to control the geopolitical situation, or you can say their foreign policy with respect to Asia, Middle East, and then Europe. Okay, so when we are talking about Asia, there are two rivals, that is China and Russia. So USA has separately been able to counter all these things, but will that be able? Will that be easy for USA to counter all these three fronts at once? Okay, so when we are talking about Asia, there is China, and when we are talking about Europe, there is this Russia, and then Turkey, you can say. Then when we talk about Middle East, there is this Iran and other Arab nations. There are possibility if they are kind of sympathizing with the Palestinians. Okay, so these Arab nations and Iran basically. So there are three factors: Russia, China, and then Iran in Middle East. On the these three factors has always been present there. Now one other factor is the war in the Middle East. The instability in Middle East affects everywhere in the world. every person in the world, every country in the world. Okay, so that is the question raised in this particular article, that is USA able to counter all these things. So here the author says that if we see at the capacity of USA has the capacity because USA has made this system of alliances. Okay, so when we are talking about the Russia-Ukraine issue, so what USA does have, that they have already these alliances in Europe, and Europe has kind of criticized the war, criticized the Russia basically. Okay, countries like Finland and Sweden has entered into, you can say, NATO. These countries has been historically neutral. Okay, but because of this war, there has been this development that these countries also join NATO group. Okay, so here you can see this is the diplomatic power of USA. When there is a war-like situation going on in Russia and Ukraine, they have managed to have two more partners. Most of the time when we see that when there are two, let's say if we are talking about USA and Russia, and there is a war-like situation, people don't try to take sides. But this is the example of good diplomacy, wherein the Sweden and Finland joined the NATO group. Okay, so that is how they are having the influence in the Europe. Okay, other than that, the UK etc., USA has been saying that UK should take more responsibility in Europe, or when we are talking about Ukraine and Russia. Okay, but still there is some kind of void which is been filled by USA. Okay, then when we are talking about China, we know that China is rising, but the problem is now there is a economical slowdown in China also. Okay, so that is a far-fetched dream that China will overthrow the US's hegemony in let's say 1 decade or two. Okay, but USA has made sure that there are alliances to counter China. When we are talking about, you must have heard of AUKUS, that is Australia, UK and US. Okay, other than that, USA has kind of helped Japan and South Korea build a bridge. There is historical enmity between South Korea and you can say Japan, or you can say their ties are not good, but USA has made sure that they are also collaborating and cooperating on the when we are talking about countering China. So South Korea and Japan are on the cooperation terms. And when we are talking about other quad like groupings, okay, wherein Australia, India, Japan, USA are working together to counter China. So all these things are the example of USA's diplomacy. So you can say that USA is doing good when we are talking about individual fronts. Okay, but now this Israel issue has come up. So here also you can say that no other country has gone to Israel in the war zone area, or no other president of the country has gone to the war zone area except USA and France. So USA has direct connection, direct link between with that, and to some extent you can say that they has extended the timeline of this ground assault which Israel was planning on Gaza Strip. They have said that they have delayed this assault, which actually has happened this morning. Okay, other than that, they have also started this humanitarian aid. They convince Israel to open up the Egypt to send humanitarian aid to Gaza Strip. Okay, so all these things are the direct influence of USA in the geopolitical scenario of the world. So we cannot say that USA cannot manage all these things, though obviously there are complexities. Okay, but USA is doing good at that front. When we are talking about economically, there are few factors. Let's say economy. So when we are talking about economy, 24% of the global GDP is owned by USA. Okay, on the other hand, when we are talking about China, China has no doubt a huge chunk of GDP, but now China is going in a slowdown. Okay, so that is one thing. Other than that, when we are talking about this military front, no other country, okay, or you can say top 10 countries which are spending good on defense, USA is the largest, and combining those top 10 countries, okay, so USA is even more. So when we are talking about the spend of on the defense expenditure etc., USA is doing really good. Okay, recently when we are looking at the Israel issue, we have heard that USA has sent two aircraft carriers in the Mediterranean, okay, to help Israel in case of emergency. So that is the level of you can say military preparation USA has. Okay, other than that, diplomatic front, we have talked about all the alliances. USA has built all these alliances in every region, you can say. When we are talking about Asia Pacific, there is Japan, which is an ally. South Korea is an ally. When we talk about the South Asian countries, there are good relations with them. Then there is, when we are talking about Indian Ocean region, there is India like partner for USA, and then there is Israel. Okay, UK and France, like all these people are kind of good allies of USA. Okay, so all these factors are kind of inclined, giving this indication that USA is still capable of doing it. Okay, so system of alliances, as I told you, that there are all these alliances, Quad, AUKUS, all this NATO. Okay, so let's see. While the challenges confronting USA are complex and demanding, Washington has the will, resources, and room for much geopolitical maneuvers. So basically, no doubt there are complexities, but Washington, I mean USA, has all the resources, be it economical, be it diplomatic, to kind of go through these challenges and assume the leadership role. Okay, so in this particular geopolitical scenario as well, USA is capable of countering all these things. Okay, so that is about this particular article. Okay, let's move forward. These are the summary of this article. You can go through it if you want. You can take a screenshot or read it. Okay, I have already covered it. Moving ahead, world affairs. UN Security Council again failed to address the Israel-Hamas war. So basically, there was these few resolutions which has been forwarded by USA, and then one was forwarded by Russia. Okay, so all these kind of resolutions, one was by Brazil also. Okay, so in USA has kind of criticized Hamas. Okay, and then supported the Israel stand. So this particular resolution was vetoed by Russia and China. Okay, so this could not pass, and then Russia has the resolution which criticized Israel's whatever they are doing, this war efforts in the Gaza Strip. Other than that, they are saying that there should be this the whatever attack that happens on October 7th by Hamas on Israel, that they have condemned that attack, but then they are saying that the whatever civilian casualties are happening because of the war efforts of Israel, they have criticized that as well. So this particular resolution has not been passed because they did not get the 9 out of 15 votes. Okay, similar was the Brazil's in criticizing the civil casualties, etc. Okay, so ultimately these resolutions could not pass. So basically, UN Security Council could not get on the consensus towards this particular issue. Okay, how to resolve this issue. Okay, so now they are saying that we will come up with the new proposal. Okay, so what is the criteria to pass a resolution in UNSC? So basically, minimum of 9 affirmative votes, 9 out of 15. You know that there are 15 members in UNSC, 5 are permanent, and then 10 are temporary members which keep changing. Okay, so 9 out of 15 you have to get to pass a resolution, plus there should be no veto from the P5, the permanent 5, USA, Russia, France, and UK and China. So these permanent 5 should not veto. Okay, so in that case, Russia could not get 9 out of 15, and then when we are talking about USA's resolution, they got down all the votes, but it was vetoed by Russia and China. So basically, that is how this UN Security Council resolutions work. You have to remember that 9 out of 15 affirmative votes and no veto by P5 members. Okay, moving ahead, there is this Biden links economic corridor to Hamas attack. We have discussed it many times that because of this Hamas attack, there has been this issue related to economic corridor, which is being proposed in the G20 summit. Okay, the India, Middle East, Europe corridor, which we are talking about right now. The Biden says that there he is sure that his instinct is saying that Hamas has attacked because of this particular effort to connect the region. Once this region is connected, once there is development, they are kind of skeptical that the cause of the Palestine will suppress there. Okay, since complex interdependence is a phenomena wherein once people are, you can say, dependent on each other for something, there are less chances of war. Okay, this complex interdependence. So once there is a connectivity, once there is a trade, and these economies get integrated, so there are less chances that anyone would go with the cause of the Palestinians. So that is why they have come up with this particular attack. But he is saying that he does not have any kind of evidence to support this cause, but he said it is the instinct on which he is talking. Okay, so India, Middle East, Europe corridor integrates the entire region with the network of rail and road. Okay, I have no proof of this, just my instincts. Okay, other than that, this particular corridor is seen as an alternative to China's Belt and Road Initiative. We have discussed it in past. There is one eastern corridor that is connecting India to Gulf region, and there is a northern corridor connecting to Gulf regions to, you can say, Europe. So here you can see this is your eastern corridor and this is the northern corridor. Okay, here this is sea route. So you can say this is a multi-modal project. This is sea route, and then this is rail and road route, and then again this is a sea route. So you can say now India can directly be connected to Europe with this corridor. Okay, so moving further, important news from yesterday. So this center has announced this subsidy, fertilizer subsidy of nearly 22,000 crore. So basically, you don't have to remember the data, these prices or something like that. You just have to remember that there are four important factors, or you can say macronutrients, I'm sorry, which are important for the growth of crops, and center is providing subsidy in this, that is NPK and sulfur. Okay, so here nitrogen, potassium, and nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, and then there is this sulfur. For this, center is providing fertilizer subsidies. Okay, other than that, there is one more thing, that Jamrani Dam, this is Jamrani Dam. It is a multi-purpose project on Uttarakhand and on the river, that is Gola river, that is tributary of Ramganga. Okay, so aim is basically irrigation related activities. So it is integrated in Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, accelerated irrigation benefit program. So basically this particular dam is being integrated in this particular program, that is Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Okay, so that is basically for irrigation, and it is on the Gola river. Okay, Gola river on that is tributary of Ramganga. Okay, it is in Uttarakhand. You can remember the name of this particular dam, that is Jamrani. Okay, that's all from that article. And now this is Delhi dials down the problems and restore some visa services in Canada. So basically, as I told you, that there was this visa services that has been stopped. Okay, so since that 41 diplomats had been withdrawn from India, so India is now dialing down the tensions. They are taking this step to kind of smoothing the process now. So that is can be seen as a de-escalatory move by India. So they have said that we will be providing visa for those Indian origin Canadians, etc., who are basically for medical visits and trade related activities, investors. All these people are allowed to come to visit India. They will be given visa, but till now tourist visas are not yet given. Okay, so that is one you can say development in the India-Canada relationship. Contours of Joint Theatre Command ready, awaited government not before tweak. So when we are talking about Joint Theatre Commands, there are basically you can say a particular place from where all the three services of our defense, or the three defense services, can perform their activities. So you can say a theatre command deploys element of the three services under a single unified command structure. Okay, so that is specific to geography. Okay, geographic specific reasons should be taken care of in this particular thing. So we are kind of thinking about three such theaters. Okay, one should be for your western borders. Okay, one should be for your northern borders, and one should be for your seas. Okay, so we know that the southern part of India is almost coastal area. So one command would be for seas, one should be for northern region, and one should be for western region. So we have threats from, let's say, China. So for that there is this northern command, and then we have threat from Pakistan, that is western command. And then when we are talking about the coast, we have this sea related command. So basically in these commands there would be all the three services integrated there, and they will perform activities together. Okay, so there would be a kind of, you can say, synchronizations of the defense services. Okay, there is this thing, they have said that National Defense Committee will be headed by Defense Minister, in this regard. Okay, so there is nothing much in this article. Only thing you should know that what is theater command and how many theaters command we are looking forward to. Like one each for Pakistan, China frontiers, and third is via sea, and there is a talks on fourth one as well. Okay, and the committee will be headed by the defense minister. Okay, so that's it for your from this particular article's point of view. Russia passes a law that withdraw from the ratification of nuclear test ban treaty. So there is this treaty called CTBT, okay, which basically was adopted in 1996. In this treaty, it is said that all the nuclear experiments, or you can say explosions, anywhere in the world should be completely banned. Okay, so that was basically adopted in 1996. But the problem is many countries, like you can say USA, China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, Israel, Iran, Egypt, all these countries did not kind of ratify it. Okay, so now Russia is also saying that we will de-ratify this particular treaty, and they are bringing a domestic law to de-ratify it. Okay, so this is the de-ratify comprehensive nuclear test ban treaty. Comprehensive nuclear test ban treaty. So that is about this CTBT, and Russia is kind of on the path to de-ratify it, because there are other countries like USA, China, UK, India, Israel, and Iran, Egypt. All these things, including North Korea, did not ratify this treaty. Okay, so that is about this article. And then there is this Mahua case. Okay, so there, in this case, a particular member of parliament has kind of some nexus with you can say some there is this or you can say some capitalist here, you can say. So on the behalf of this capitalist, they are supposed to ask this question. So this particular lady has given all the login password etc to this particular capitalist to so that he can directly put forward the questions. Okay, and this MP can reiterate all these questions in the parliament. Okay, so that was the, you can say, nexus between the MP and this capitalist. Okay, because of which this particular issue was recommended to the ethics committee. Okay, so there are few committees which kind of look on the issues related to parliamentary actions etc. So this has been forwarded to ethics committee. Okay, so ethics committee will look into this particular method. There are people who are saying that why not to the privileged committee. There is this committee related to privileges in parliament and parliamentary members. So most of the time the serious issues are being taken by the privileged committee, and the other issues which are of less importance, or you can say related to morals and ethics, has been basically scrutinized by the ethics committee. So there are most of the scholars are saying that this particular issue should be forwarded to privilege committee. But anyway, this issue has been forwarded to ethics committee, and ethics committee will scrutinize this particular issue. So that's about this Mahua Moitra case. Okay. So I guess we will wrap up the session here. We have covered today's Indian Express and yesterday's important news articles in this area in this particular session, and then we have covered one editorial. So that's all for this session. We'll see you in the next session. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.